and welcome back, RFCLA fans, to the unofficial RFCLA podcast, Notes from the Clubhouse, episode number 3. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata, and man, we got so much amazing things to go over this past weekend, and of course, previewing the upcoming weekend as we have a very important match against Eastern Conference rivals, Old Glory DC. Of course, that game will be here at the beautiful Wallace Edinburgh Stadium on the campus of UCLA, Saturday, March 29th, which is either tomorrow or today, depending on when you're listening to this and watching this, which, of course, I do appreciate you guys checking out this unofficial RFCLA podcast. Again, that game is going to be 3 p.m. Saturday, March 29th. Just to let you guys know, if you are a local sports fan and who isn't, if you're here in LA, we do have a curtain raiser, one of the, if not the biggest college rivalry in all of sports. USC Trojans taking on the hometown UCLA Bruins rugby team. That will be the current opener for this game. That will kick off at 1 o'clock. So right before the RFCLA taking on Old Glory DC. But again, let's go over what we are going to be doing in this podcast. Of course, we always review last week's game, and boy, was it a big one. Going to get up our boards here. There we go. And of course, I'm talking about the away victory, the victory on the road, going down to the gold mine last weekend to take down NOLA Gold 31-24. It was an exciting game. Unfortunately, even though it was a big victory for RFCLA, it wasn't without some price. Talented young Canadian player Seth Purdy unfortunately suffered a pretty severe shoulder injury minutes within the game. We don't know exactly the status of Seth Purdy. Of course, he is not on the roster for the starting 23 or the full 23, starting 15, or the reserves for the game against DC. So he is still on the mend. We, of course, are wishing him a full speedy recovery. But with that being said, when one man comes down, another man will raise his hand to stand up, and that is none other than Jack Shaw, coming off of the bench, literally a minute later scores the opening try for RFCLA, and then it just continued from there. RFCLA, you'll hear in interviews, especially today when I talk with Andrew Coe and Matt Heaton, the style of RFCLA's play has definitely been a very high offensive scoring play of rugby. So if you love that kind of style where all you want to see is tries by the handful, then definitely RFCLA is your team to watch, because once Jack Shaw scored, the floodgates were open, and our very talented scrum half Gonzalo Bertrano, who has been having an amazing debut MLR season, the capped Argentinian player, has been phenomenal for RFCLA, especially with heads-up plays. He scores not just one, but 2 tries, gets a brace in this game. It is 2 of the first 4 tries scored by RFCLA within the first half. Later on in the second half, RFCLA continues with the scoring. Andrew Coe gets his 9th try as an RFCLA member, moving up to 2nd of all time, just right behind Semi Kunatani. And again, RFCLA, though we did suffer a little bit with discipline, we did get a yellow card. We did end up winning that game, not just because of the offense, but also the defense was really strong. A couple of times, just like with the Seattle game, RFCLA's defense really held up in not only our red zone, but in the right near the try line as well. That has really made a difference in these games this season thus far. So games that maybe last season would not fall into our favor, we end up holding off the opponents, and those close games go into our favor. So big win for RFCLA right now. And that win, again, 31-24. We are currently on a 2-game winning streak, and that's huge going into our next game against Old Glory. But before that, if you haven't joined us for a watch party, and again, I don't know why you wouldn't be unless you're not in the LA area. But if you're in the LA area, even though RFCLA may not be playing at home, you can still catch all the rugby action at our watch parties, Tower 12. You can meet the boys that didn't make the trip, who are all super cool people, great to chill with. Tower 12 also has great food, great drinks, great ambiance, and of course, a lot of rugby. But also, too, you might be witness of a couple of really cool moments with RFCLA players. I was able to do an amazing trivia contest between young players, Anticev and Vaughen Isaacs. See which teammate is smarter than the other. These two both claim that they're pretty smart on the team. The winner got bragging rights. The loser, well, you're going to have to check out this clip and see what happens. So we're going to do a trivia contest between two RFCL players, Anticev and Vaughen Isaacs. And basically, I'm going to be asking them 5 questions each, 5 different questions on categories that they felt that they were confident that they knew more than their opponents. As well as we'll have one category that both of them should theoretically know. Whoever gets the most out of 5 wins. The loser has to take this shot of hot sauce. Okay? How confident are we feeling, Matt?
I'm feeling good.
And how are we feeling, Vaughen?
Very confident.
Alright, so who wants to go first, Matt or Vaughen?
I'll go first.
Alright, Vaughen will go first. So, first question. We're going to go about languages, because Vaughen felt he knew a lot about languages. So, question for you, Vaughen. The word Gesundheit. What language is that from? Gesundheit.
Gesundheit. I would say Chinese.
No! Gesundheit is German.
Oh. Did you know that? Nope. That's alright.
Alright, for you, Matt, language.
Yeah.
What is, according to Ethnologue, which is a record of all living languages, what is the language that is spoken the most in the whole entire population of the earth? Most native speakers, what language is spoken the most in all of Earth?
Yeah. It's either Chinese or Spanish. I'm going to go with Mandarin.
Yes, you're right! Mandarin Chinese is the most spoken language, 990 million. Good job, Matt. So Matt is up 1-0 to Vaughen. Oh, Vaughen. All right, we're going to move on to something that Matt said he knew more of, and that is the United States. So, Vaughen, we'll start with you. How many states are there in the United States?
50.
Very good! Correct!
Like
For Matt, what is, by area, the largest state in the United States?
By area?
By area.
Alaska.
Very good! 2-1. Alaska is the largest, 665,384 square feet. It is square miles. It is 2 times larger than Texas, which is the second most. Okay. All right, so the score is Matt's up 2-1 to Vaughen. We're moving on to a category that Vaughen felt he was more confident in, and that is food. Okay, so we're going to start with Matt this time. Matt, what is bangers and mash?
Bangers and mash.
Bangers and mash. If you order bangers and mash, what are you going to get?
It's like beans and mashed potatoes?
No!
Oh, sausage! No. It is sausage.
Yeah, but you said beans first. It is sausages. Yeah. Sausages and mashed potatoes. Do you know that, Vaughen?
Easy one, yes.
Yeah.
Easy one.
For you,
Vaughen. Easy one.
What animal makes up the dish foie gras?
For what?
Foie gras. It is a French dish, foie gras.
Foie gras.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Oh no, foie gras.
Foie gras.
Yes. What animal makes up foie gras? There's a type of animal.
I think I know it.
I'll give you a hint because you're down. It is an animal that flies.
It flies?
Yes.
The word I can say a bird, then I'll be right. Yep. Any bird.
Well, I mean, there's a specific bird.
Nah, I would go with eagle, but it's not an eagle.
No! It's either a duck or a goose. Foie gras is the liver of a duck or a goose. All right, Matt is still up 2-1. We're going down into a category that Matt knows a lot about, and that is NFL football. NFL football. So we're going to start with Vaughen. Vaughen, what player has the most Super Bowl rings in the history of the NFL? What player has the most Super Bowl rings?
Brody.
Who?
Brody.
Super Bowl rings.
Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, Super Bowl rings.
I'll go for Brody.
What's his first name?
What's his first name? Tom Brady. Oh, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, man. Yes.
I'll say Brody. Are you
No. I was thinking about
Tom Brady. All right,
Tom Brady.
that's right.
Thank
That's
you.
right. We're 2-2. I was like, are we talking about Bodie from rugby?
It's the accent.
All right. With that being said, Tom Brady does hold the most Super Bowl rings with 7.
Yes.
How many Super Bowls has Tom Brady played in? He has won 7. 10 is the right answer. That is correct. Tom Brady has played in 10 Super Bowls. So, Matt is up 3-2. We're in the last category. This is a category that everybody in rugby should know. It's rugby history. Okay, so we're going to start with Vaughen because you're down. Vaughen, to tie the score, where was the first men's rugby World Cup hosted?
The first.
The first men's rugby World Cup, where was it hosted?
Do you know?
I'm sorry, say again?
I don't know. No. I'm still thinking.
Sure.
I think I know. I don't know. No, flip. I would go with Australia, but I know.
Yes, Australia. Both New Zealand and Australia.
But I'll go with Australia.
Did host the first men's rugby World Cup. Score is tied 3-3. But we have one last question for the win. Matt, how many Rugby World Cups has New Zealand won?
3?
3 is right! So the winner, 4-3, is Matt.
I thought you were going to lose.
Great job, guys. Unfortunately, Vaughen came up a little short. Has to take the shot. Good luck, Vaughen. Cheers, brother. There you go! Cheers! Good job. Congratulations, Matt. How you feel?
Feel good that I didn't have to take that shot.
All right. Once again, I hope you enjoyed that trivia contest. Something a little bit of something that I want to work on with the team to give you some really creative moments with teammates and something that can kind of get you to know the players a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed it. Also, maybe you might have learned something new from that segment. And again, congratulations to Matt Anticev, and kudos to Vaughen Isaacs. He was a great player, and he took it like a man. He took that hot shot and no problem at all. Literally, he actually was chilling for a couple minutes before he had to get some water. So Vaughen Isaacs can handle some hot food. Now, let's talk about this upcoming game. As I mentioned before, Saturday, March 29th, on the field of Wallace Annenberg Stadium on the campus of UCLA, RFCLA hosts Old Glory DC. Before I go into a deep dive of it, I had the opportunity to talk to 2 of the stalwart players of RFCLA, winger Andrew Coe, flanker Matt Heaton. Both of them very familiar with Old Glory DC. They gave us their insights and a little bit of the insight of what RFCLA's strategy is when they host Old Glory DC. Talk about the game that we're here to talk about for tomorrow, Saturday, April 29th, 3 p.m. kickoff time at the Wallace Annenberg Stadium on the campus of UCLA. We're going to be hosting we're hosting the Old Glory DC coming in. Now, let us know, as much as you can let us know, what is the strategy going into this game with Old Glory? Matt, you're mentioning that you guys have been studying just a little bit about the evolution that Old Glory has been going through.
Yep.
So what have you guys noticed, or could you tell us what you guys have noticed, and what has that got into your preparation?
Yeah, I think kicking strategy has definitely changed. So, I mean, some teams will tend to, for lack of a better term, use an analogy. They'll have a couple bites at the apple. If they don't have enough momentum, they'll look to create momentum with some attacking kicks. That's where the aerial battle comes in, the territory game comes in. We're seeing, it's a bit of a change from Old Glory, but they're retaining possession a lot more, maybe looking less for those kick battles, trying to bring, string more phases together, which is not traditional for them. So it's exciting for us because that's, I think the style of rugby that we look to play is put some phases together and really, test teams on defense. So it's going to be a really exciting game. I think all the fans that are going to be there are really in for a great spectacle of rugby, of what good running rugby is.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. Pretty pumped to play in it because they play a style very similar to us. Lots of ball in play, lots of attacking rugby. It'll be fun to watch. It'll be awesome. I'm pumped. Should be the game of the year, I think.
There you go. I like that. Now, they have a lot of talented players that have a really good season so far in this year of Major League Rugby. Jason Robertson has been really good, one of the top point scorers in the league. Andrew, opposite numbers, the wingers, they have Axel Mueller, Perry Humphreys have been really good and solid. Is there any players that you guys, or is that a strategy? Do you guys specifically watch out for certain players? Is that a strategy for you guys?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely key in on some players that are having good years. I think for me, playing DC, there's a bunch of guys who played on New York with me.
I was going to say.
So
we got ex-teammates on every team.
We had
a
conversation about this, so I already know Connor Buckley,
exactly.
Jason Emery, Ewok Emery.
Yeah, I'm pumped to play those guys. Sure. Buckles, Jace Emery, John Powers, Bill Whiteside, and then Canadian guy, Cali Martinez. It's fun to play against those sorts of guys.
There you go. How about you, Matt? Is there anybody on the DC team you're looking forward to tackling or colliding with, or maybe let's flip it. Anybody that you don't want to?
No, there's nobody I never want to.
There you go.
Even if I get spit out the other side, I will always get in front of a tackle.
So is there anybody that you're really looking forward to? Maybe laying a little bit of a shoulder into?
No, I mean, I tend not to focus too much on individual players, or at least trying to, one-up an individual player. But I think as a competitive rugby player, there's a bit of a cliche that says if you just play better than your opposite number, we're going to have a good day as a team. So that's kind of always a bit of a target, is to just, put a little bit more effort in, to, win each little micro battle, and, we'll win the macro battle, if that's so to speak. But, I mean, we do a lot of analysis, we do a lot of preview, we do a lot individually, we do a lot as a team. So, we have a good idea of what every player, on the opposition brings to the table, like what their X factor is. So, yeah, I mean, I think as a team, we're fully aware of some of the firepower they have, particularly as forwards. We've been looking at, each game and looking for, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how we're going to manage certain things, how we're going to maybe show them a different picture, something they haven't seen before, or, show them, or just do something better than another team did against them. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of analysis and preview that goes into it, but at the end of the day, we don't, there aren't little individual things that we think if we just take him out of the game, we'll win the game. It doesn't really work like that. I think we're aware of the battle ahead of us, but yeah, we're fully looking forward to it.
Now, I don't know if you guys are aware, the last home game that we had with Seattle was the biggest attended game that we had in the season. Awesome. Just showing how big our fan base here in LA is growing. How huge is that for you guys to play in front of a really hyped up crowd, large number crowd?
Yeah, you get the home field advantage when that happens, right? So you get into the head of the opponents if it's loud. If you look at some of the other places to play, New England's a tough place to play. New Orleans is
tough. Well, they got a section. I sorry to cut you off, but you played there. The it's because they're a repurposed baseball stadium. So as like a player, you know, forward particularly, we knew if we kicked the ball and we could just get past the edge of the stands on that left side, you're okay, because the fans, like, you can't really hear them. They can't shout at you. But if your kick's a bit too short, you're right in front of the 22. Their fans are throwing. I don't know, a bit rude, but you know, they're good fans in NOLA. So no, they're making it hard on your lineout caller. They're letting you know that they don't like you. That, you know, you're going to drop this ball. They're in your ear. And I mean, I think, you know, looking at our grounds are really intimate too. So, you know, and our fans are really passionate. So it's growing. You know, unfortunately, I was out injured for that Seattle game, but I got to, you know, be a part of the fan experience. And it's really good. You know, it's really good. Everybody's super friendly. Everybody's, you know, even Seattle had a couple of fans there. Was talking to them, and they really enjoyed it too. So the venue's really intimate. It's really personal. You know, it kind of feels like everybody there is a part of the team.
Yeah, it feels like they could almost reach out and touch you.
They can.
Yeah, they can.
They can.
At some points they can. So they're definitely a part of the game. It's you know, the more people we can get out, the better for us.
Now, we just released the rosters, the starting lineup playing for this game, the Old Glory DC. And so, Matt, I'm going to go on to you because you're going to be starting this game off of the bench of reserve. Is there a different strategy for you when you're either starting or coming off the reserve, or is your strategy the same regardless?
No, it definitely changes. So yeah, coming off the bench, your role is not to close out a game, but it's to bring a little bit of energy, because the game slows down a little bit as it goes on. Bodies start to get tired. It's handy to have a couple senior guys coming off the bench, because we can watch, we can see, we can start to notice, you know, maybe there's something that they've changed in their attack or their patterns or their kicking to kind of counteract something that maybe we're doing. So when you come on, there's maybe, you know, some opportunities that you could see from the sideline that, you know, on the field are hard to pick up. You also come in, you bring energy and composure. I think it's really difficult for a team if you have guys who come off the bench and create more chaos. You know, you want to be really composed, and you want to be really, you know, diligent and know exactly, you know, what your game plan is in each kind of individual moment of the game. So it's definitely very different starting a game and coming off the bench. And there's definitely a skill to it. Like, it's something, you know, personally, it took me a little while to develop. You know, well, I mean, it's classic young rugby player. I mean, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. You know, your first few caps for your country or your club or something like that, you're coming off the bench all day, you're like locked in, focused, and you're like, oh, and you want to be, and by the time kickoff comes, you are burnt out. So adrenaline,
or you try and come on and do too much, and you force things, and then you're just not playing your game. So it's a fine balance of bringing the energy, but not going crazy and trying to force things and make stuff happen.
The hardest thing about, you know, being on the bench and being a reserve is when stuff starts to go well and everybody starts getting up and getting excited. You have to, like, I know I have to, because I will get too amped up. I have to, like, okay, you know, cool, we scored a try, good work, but let's stay calm, because you know, if I'm up jumping and, you know, headbutting teammates and things like that, when it comes time for me to step on the pitch and bring that energy, I'm just a little fatigued. So definitely different strategies.
Awesome. I want to thank both Andrew Coe and Matt Heaton for giving me their time to talk about their upcoming match with Old Glory DC, and that's what we're going to be diving into right now. Let's check out the starting lineup for Old Glory DC. As you see right there, they announced it just a couple of hours ago. Now, very interesting, it is actually quite a bit of a change from the roster that were able to defeat the two-time reigning and defending MLR champions New England Free Jacks. So I'm not 100% sure if it's a lot to do with injuries, but it's quite a bit of a shakeup, a change from that team. We have 6 players that are not playing in this game that played against New England, and we have 6 new players, of course, obviously soon enough to play against RFCLA, including the the Old Glory debut of Joe Reese, who's at the number 3 spot. Former under-20 Wales player. His very first time playing in Major League Rugby as well. So a young, maybe a little bit inexperienced player, It's, the proposition, the 1 in 3. Ascaro, of course, is no stranger to props and no stranger to the MLR action. He is a capped eagle. The proposition is kind of like your defensive line or offensive line. You may not necessarily want to have young players in that position, but Joe Reese has been selected to start. So we'll see if that decision comes into play in this game. Also of mention, John Rizzo, the number 11 spot on the winger, is going to be making his first start of the year for Major League Rugby, a USA standout, born and raised here in the United States, has made his name known with Old Glory. He is just coming back from injury, so he is coming in. Interestingly enough, stepping in for a missing Axel Mueller. Axel Mueller, as I mentioned before with my talk with Matt Heaton and Andrew Coe, one of the star players so far this season for Old Glory, actually both wingers, Axel Mueller, and as you see, number 14, Perry Humphreys, have been phenomenal. Both of them have 4 tries on the season. They are offensive weapons. It is maybe a little bit of a downer for Old Glory fans to see one of their high explosive weapons not suiting up today. We don't know what to expect from John Rizzo. Again, another young, talented player. But another player to watch out for is the fullback. Damien Hoyland is Scottish international player. He's been making some pretty impressive plays so far this season, not only on offense but defense as well. And of course, the battery of Buckley and Jason Robertson has been phenomenal for Old Glory. Robertson has had a phenomenal year, one of the top scoring players of the league so far. The bench is going to be the interesting one. You see a couple names, of course, the return of Jason Ewok Emery, former RFCLA player last year, is now suited up for Old Glory DC. He's going to be coming off of the bench as reserve. Of course, the before mentioned John Powers and Carlito Martinez, both talented players coming off the bench. Another guy that I think people should watch out for is, of course, Ethan McVeigh, the talented, usually he is either a scrum half or fullback, a capped eagle, just recently capped eagle last year when USA was on their summer tour. And of course, he spent some time in San Diego. It's been very impressive over there as well. So he can make a difference coming off of the bench reserve. Again, interestingly enough, no Jameson Fonana Schultz at the number 8 position, one of the strong players for Old Glory DC. So, not Old Glory DC at 100%. Could that play into a factor playing against RFCLA? Maybe it's just to rest a couple players. Sometimes that is the strategy with the teams, to not necessarily go full throttle this early in the season. Granted, we're at the 1/3 of the season mark, but it is a long season and it is a season of attrition. It might be a good time to rest some of those key players during matches that may not be as consequential as later on, especially against teams that are in your own conference. This is an Eastern versus Western Conference game. Now, let's talk about your RFCLA starting lineup and reserve players as well. Just like with Old Glory DC, kind of a few changes here. The one that's really interesting is the number 4, the debut of Lucas Burr. Lucas Burr, an Argentinian player we picked up from the Dallas dispersal draft. As you see, he has the Dallas jersey. Dallas, unfortunately, is now defunct, and all the players were dispersed. He is one of the players that we picked up in that dispersal draft. Very, very talented young Argentinian player. This will be his first time suiting up as a RFCLA player, and interestingly enough, settling in the spot that is usually for common team captain Jason Dom, who this will be the first game that Dom will be on the reserves. Again, I don't believe Jason is hurt. I think this might just be a move to kind of preserve Jason Dom, who has been starting every game. And he plays a very rough and tough position. Jason Dom also has almost one of the top tacklers so far this season. So pretty banged up and bruised. This might be a good chance to give him a little bit of a breather, but not completely out of the game just yet. Of course, with Jason Dom not taking up the captainship, Number 10 captain will be Christian Fano, who, of course, along with Gonzalo Bertrano, had been amazing, both of them, as the battery of our team. Another interesting note is the return of, as you see on the roster, Semi Kunatani at the number 6 spot. Phenomenal player right now, leads RFCLA with most tries in RFCLA history of 10, was one of the top try scorers last season. I think we've been kind of playing him as bring him in just in case you need him. He is one of the older players, not to put down Semi, but again, it's a long season. Try to preserve him probably as much as possible. And then, of course, number 14 is going to be Jack Shaw, coming in, of course, for the injured Seth Purdy, who was not able to play much of the Nola goal game, but Jack Shaw came in and scored a beautiful try. Now, on the reserves, number 16 is either going to be Benjamin Strang or Benjamin Sugars. According to the website of Sugars, here it's Strang, so we'll see who comes there. And then, this is what shows the depth of RFCLA in season 2 compared to season 1. Because on the reserves, you have not only Jason Dom, but you have the returning Matthew Heaton. You have Taz Smith, who is a phenomenal player. You have Christian Dyer, who is also coming back from injury. And then the big one, you have the debut of Reese McDonald to RFCLA. And if you don't know who Reese McDonald is a phenomenal New Zealand player. He was the back of the year last season. He had a huge contribution, of course, to New England winning not only one, but both of their championships, if you think about it. So to have Reese McDonald come over to LA is a huge get. He hasn't been able to play because he's just recovering from shoulder surgery himself. So this will be his first time suiting up, of course, on the reserve, just to kind of get him in. But again, man, that reserve, you have Jason Dom, Matt Heaton, Taz Smith, Christian Dyer, and Reese McDonald coming off of the bench when the other team is tired and not as fresh. It's literally having the starting lineup come in. So that just shows you the phenomenal depth that RFCLA has, and it's going to be amazing to see Reese McDonald suit up in an RFCLA jersey. I'm just super excited about that. I really do feel, again, we talked about this with Matt Heaton and Andrew Coe. LA's play style, the fast, aggressive, scoring, it can easily go toe-to-toe with Old Glory. Old Glory, as mentioned before, not with all their weapons, but also, too, what really helps is RFCLA's defense has really held up. If we can continue with that defense, this game in front of easily could be a sold-out crowd. Is going to be an amazing match. As Andrew Coe said, it's not joking. It could easily be the match of the year. This will be a great showdown. So, again, if you're able to in town, come down to Wallace Allenberg Stadium tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching this, Saturday, March 29th. 3 p.m. kickoff time at the Wallace Annenberg Stadium. Tickets are available at www.rugbyfcla.com. Again, there is a curtain opener, the biggest rivalry in all college sports. UCLA and USC rugby teams will collide at 1 p.m. So we have a deal where you can watch both of those games for a great price. Check out rugbyfcla.com for ticket information. And again, come out for both games. It is going to be a full afternoon of rugby, and the beauty is we'll be done by 5. You can still enjoy the nightlife of LA. What's better than being able to do not only rugby, but enjoy LA nightlife all in one phenomenal day? So if you don't believe me, I'm going to close out with some words from both Matt Heaton and Andrew Coe to encourage you to come out. And again, thank you very much, guys, for checking out the RFCLA podcast. For myself, I want to thank Andrew Coe. I want to thank Matt Heaton. I want to thank Matt Anticev and Vaughen Isaacs for being able to contribute to this podcast episode. Thank you very much for checking out, and we hope to see you on the pitch.
I'd say it's probably the best time you can have in LA. The sun will be shining, the beers will be flowing, there's music, there's some guys hitting each other, there's a rugby game on the side of just a good time in the stands.
Yeah.
So you should definitely come out.
Each week, the fan experience gets better and better. So I know for a fact that, you know, the Sydney beers are going to be flowing, the sun is going to be shining, it's going to be electric. If you're not there, are you even in LA?
I don't think so.
I
really don't think so.
I think Wallace Annenberg is the centerpiece of LA
I think
tomorrow.
So. Absolutely. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.